The government of St. Kitts and Nevis Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, held a project launch on July 11, 2016 for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, TVET Enhancement Project. In this edition of SKNIS Current Speeches, Dr. Baptiste of the Projects Department of the Caribbean Development Bank presents on behalf of his team. Remarks are 12 minutes.
On behalf of the President and staff of the CDB, it is my pleasure to extend the bank's commendations to the government and the people of St. Kitts in allowing us as the development agency in the region to partner with you and to support your development priorities in education. The bank has been established for this very purpose. Our mandate and mission is to work with our board member countries to support your development growth in all key sectors, main ones being education and economic infrastructure as of now. And over the years, the bank has been pleased to work with St. Kitts and Nevis in supporting education development through a number of projects, starting with the basic education project in the late 1990s, the child development project, which was done around 2004, and through the BNTF, the Basic Needs Trust Fund, we have in fact been supporting your work in education and the social sectors in St. Kitts and Nevis. This we do as the country and the region continues its evolution as a civilization. And ladies and gentlemen, as you well know, education has evolved in waves across the region. We started in the 1960s, in the post-independence era, to focus on providing access to basic education. And we have to commend St. Kitts that led the region in achieving universal secondary education in 1968. Setting the light and igniting the flame that countries since then have in fact worked towards getting, but St. Kitts led the way. And it showed not only a sense of what development ought to be and how central education is to that, but as a small country to recognize that investment in your people is at the center of what ought to be done if we're talking about providing the enabling environment for the country to develop, to provide the quality of life that everyone, in fact, desires to have. We've moved from the 1960s and 70s to focus on quality of education, improving teacher education, looking at curriculum reform. And in these last 2 decades, TVET is now central because the focus have moved from access to quality to now an issue of relevance. To what degree we are preparing persons to meet the labor market needs in the labor market, but also to use TVET as a means by which we skill persons so they can make contributions to national development. My colleague, Mr. Stephen Lawrence, who you see here with me, a civil engineer, reminds us of a quote he saw in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that said, education is the key, but TVET is the master key. And that in many ways is true. But as one of the graduates in one of the Ivy League ceremonies this year said, although we've told our children that education is the key, sometimes we keep changing the locks. And so we have opportunities aplenty, but somehow we aren't able to craft the synergy between that which we offer and that which is realized in the end. So when you think of TVET in particular, and we have the passion that you have, because we've been privileged in the bank, myself and Steve and other colleagues, to see how the region is evolving. But one of the things we need to deal with in making sure that we do not change the locks in TVET is to start by giving TVET its rightful place at the center and the pinnacle of what education is. And so like you, I cringe when I hear that TVET are for students who are not academically inclined. And I'm not sure what that means, because intelligence is so varied and vast that in fact everything we have here in this room, besides us in our natural form, is as a result of TVET. I'm sure you've seen where air conditioning is available, yeah? Building technology, electrical installation, fashion and design, garment construction, and I suspect, Minister, we may have some food afterwards, so this food prep and culinary, everything you see in the built environment is as a result of TVET. And so you and I need to deal with the traditional and unfortunate notion that if you're not good with your head, so we must allow you to be good with your hands. I don't know the last time that a hand can work without the head. And in fact, what we have done through academia is to have this false dichotomy between TVET and academic. TVET is academic. An academic endeavor has skills built into it. You don't want a doctor who understands surgery but don't know how to wield a scalpel. Yeah? You get me? So we are delighted that we can partner with you in working towards assisting you as you move towards coming to where many of the other countries are. What we know in St. Kitts and Nevis that the children whom in your anthem should live free do well in TVET. 90% of the students who attempts TVET subjects pass the TVET subjects. The problem, of course, is that we need to make sure that the certification that we offer them is certification that has regional recognition. So they can move beyond simply being in the federation and see the world as their oyster, as it were. And because TVET is applied science and applied math, we recognize that it makes sense for us to widen and broaden the opportunities for TVET so that every child, every young person, every adult who wants to retool is able to do just that. And so we're happy to join with you as you work with and join the ranks of those who have gone on before in TVET. Jamaica has led the region. In 2014, they have awarded about 27,300 national vocational qualifications. I'm looking for, by the end of this project, you wouldn't get to 27,000, but we're hoping that a few hundreds of your boys and girls, adults in the workforce, would be issued with CVQs and NVQs, as the TVET Secretariat and the folks in the Ministry of Education, both in St. Kitts and Nevis, work together to that. We were in St. Vincent just a few weeks ago, and we were happy as we support the folks in St. Vincent that this year they'll be awarding 63 CVQs to students in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this is not to point that to you, because St. Kitts started in the OECS the CVQ programs. That's another applause you should give yourself. Because you very early you learned the value of CVQ, and you started very quick. We just wanted to end strong. And so this project is about helping you to build the infrastructure, the schools, the institutes, AVEC, Multipurpose Center, Gingerland, Secondary Charleston, Secondary, all the secondary schools, CFBC, to make sure that you put the facilities in place, that you upgrade to the facility standards to be able to award the CVQ, that we support your training of instructors and assessors and verifiers so you can award your CVQ, that we support Mr. Thompson and his team at the TVET Secretariat and the TVET Council so it can now become an entity that is able to coordinate and manage and support and develop standards for TVET in the Federation. And that is exactly what this project is about. So we are delighted to be part of this endeavor. The work that myself and Mr. Lawrence and the team exhibited while we were here is not out of favor for you. It's because we believe that we are tasked with the responsibility of supporting you, and we celebrate and applaud your efforts of advancing yourself. So we look forward in 3, 4, 5 years to a National Training Institute, we think. Great idea. A TVET secretary that is fully functional. And although in this project, which by the way does have a grant of 300,000 USPS, I just want to let you know. While this project does not have, as we had originally planned with you, the construction of the TVET Secretariat, I'm sure that the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister would be quite willing to discuss with us, certainly as soon as possible, the means by which we can support those investments. And we stand ready because as this project was being designed, the designs were done, we have the cost estimates. I think this time around, as the Ministry of Finance sought to understand what amount of funding they would ask CDB, that part of the project had to be deferred, but we are quite willing, as soon as the government and the minister is so ready, to respond positively to continue that endeavor. Over the next 2 days, we'll be working with the project team here in St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Pemberton and the others, to work through CDB's procurement policies and procedures, our implementation guidelines, to make sure that the project is implemented in an efficient manner, that the outcomes and outputs that we have defined in the project are in fact realized and achieved, and that in the end, we can return with an exit workshop that would celebrate not just the number of teachers trained and instructors assessed and the facilities that have been upgraded, but to sit with you as you watch your young men and women and older men and women be awarded certificates that can allow them to work anywhere in the region, but meeting your needs here in St. Kitts and Nevis first. We stand with you. Thank you.
Visit the SKNIS on YouTube to watch informative, exciting, and thought-provoking programs such as Working for You, Current Speeches, SKNIS exclusives, and much more. Hit the subscribe button to be alerted when a new video is uploaded. What are you waiting for? Head to the SKNIS and start exploring.